up, Trey?
Hey, what's up, Owen? Good to see you again. How you doing today?
Too, bub. How you feel?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling even better now that you and I are getting a chance to catch back up. It's been about two
Yeah.
years, and you've been through a
Yes,
lot in that time. You've published a book with your son.
I did. I did. I have it right here. It's hilarious. This book right here. When
S-
I was your age.
let's talk about this because I love this
Yeah.
concept, and I would assume that you would have maybe written this book on your own, but you give your son full credit for helping to ask some of these questions. At what point did your son firing questions your way turn into an idea for a book?
Every morning, man. Every morning, every afternoon. Both my son and my daughter, they always go, Daddy, tell me a story. Tell me a story. Tell me a story. Tell me a story. Or he'll ask about what was it like when, because I grew up in apartments and he's like fascinated by like the crew that I grew up with, and their names. We had like interesting names. Like I grew up with a kid that we actually called Fat Adrian. Like you couldn't do that today. It's a kid named Fat Adrian, Demartius, Delano, Mirando. He's like intrigued by like all the names and the characters, and I would always tell him these stories about how we would all just go outside and play and how they have play dates now and stuff like that. And then he wanted a PS5. And I was like, well, PS5s aren't cheap. I said, when I was your age, I used to wash and wax cars to make money. And he was like, well, Dad, I think we should make a book because everything you're saying sounds cool. And in his schooling, they've been working on like making books and journaling and writing and stuff. And so I said, it's not a bad idea. So we just like sat down and made something kind of, pretty funny, a little funny little thing. And he was throwing down like he was reminding me of stuff I would say and we were writing it out and then I made him edit it and proofread it and make help design it and do all of that stuff. We did it and then we just put it up on Amazon and then we got lucky enough to that Sunny Hostin picked it for one of her favorite books of the summer. And so he was able to get his PS5. And so it was mainly like to just teach him about, working in the value of money and how you will meet you halfway if you put in the effort. And that's kind of like what my parents did for me. So it's one of
Yeah,
those things.
look, we're at a time where it's like this immediate gratification society, and the idea of working hard to achieve something is completely lost. If you're not getting your 15 seconds of fame on
Man,
TikTok or YouTube or whatever else, then you're doing something wrong in a lot of people's eyes. So I love to hear that that message is being put out there
yeah,
freshly through a book like
absolutely.
this.
Yeah, to see him read it to his class was awesome. And his class had so many questions, they were blown away that he wrote an actual book. And it's kind of like, just showing them that they all can do this stuff. Like me writing on TV and show running shows. I didn't know those were jobs, man. Like growing up, I didn't know people made those things. And so like just like exposing like his classmates to, yeah, y'all can make a book. Like there's no rules as to how long it has to be. And so now some of the other parents told me that they're doing it with their children. My daughter wants me to do a book with her. We calling it Daddy Daughter Day. So it's just about just the stories we make up anyway, just writing them down. And, they may land somewhere, they may not, but it's still like the exercise of you know, learning to tell your story and what's interesting to you.
So
So
your son is 9 and your daughter is 6, correct?
yep, 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 yep,
Okay.
yep.
I've got a 9-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter, so I'm a little bit ahead of you in terms of the point where you gain a little bit of adult freedom again. But my
Yeah.
9-year-old son, like what you were talking about with part of what you do for a living now, he knows that I love stand-up comedy, and he's got a great sense of humor for a 9-year-old to the
Oh, that's
point where it
great.
probably gets him in a little bit of trouble in school. But he asked me
Ah,
what stand-up comedy is, and I tell him it's like you get up on stage and you tell stories and you tell jokes that make a crowd full of random people laugh. And he's completely enamored with that idea. And so now I'm trying to figure out when it might be appropriate to expose him to stand up and the type of stand up that I'm going to expose him to. Like everybody's,
yeah,
maybe not everybody, but a lot of people who grew up in the 80s have that story of seeing something like Delirious at way too early of an age.
that was me. That was
But
me.
okay, so you were in that category. So for you
Yeah.
with your son, I guess one, has he seen you do stand up, and what are the
Yeah.
sorts of stand ups? Because you obviously know a lot of people in the business. What are the
Yeah.
types of stand ups that you think are appropriate for a 9 year old?
Man, let me tell you, man. All right, I do have a theory on this. This is a fantastic question. It's fantastic. So, okay, so when I was 9 years old, that was when I saw Delirious. And at 9 years old, that's when I knew I wanted to be a stand-up.
Hmm.
Like I knew I didn't know what it was called, what Eddie Murphy was doing. I asked the people over whose house I was over, what is that? And they said he's a comedian. And at that moment, I go, I'm gonna be a comedian. And then my next thought was, but just not in that outfit. I
First
don't
joke
have
right there.
yeah, first dope. Yeah, because I don't have Eddie Murphy's body. I couldn't pull off red leather pants. I knew that at 9, and so I was hoping that that wasn't the uniform because you understand that's the first time I'm seeing it. I'd heard comedy. A classmate of mine reminded me once I started doing it. She was like, when we were in second grade, our teacher, Mr. Thaddeus, used to play Cosby albums for us if we behaved. And so I'd heard it before, but it didn't connect with me until I was 9 because that's how I was relating to kids in my neighborhood and in school. I was always making them laugh. I loved making my aunts laugh. I could make everybody laugh but my mom. My mom would not break. She would just be like, so it just made me like try to work harder. And so, uh, but I kept that want to myself. I didn't tell anybody that dream and until I was 19. I was working a summer job. I was home from college. I went to Notre Dame and I was home after my freshman year working at the Department of Energy. And I was making everybody laugh. And this one guy I was teasing, and I knew how to tease people to go just far enough, But this big guy named Kevin, he walked over to me, he was like, "You funny." He goes, "I'm gonna take you to a comedy club." I never heard of such a thing. I did not know comedy clubs existed. I'm 19. And he took me to a comedy club. Well, in true DC fashion, he was like, "Pick me up at my crib." So already I had to go pick him up. And then he told me how to get to the Greenbelt Comedy Connection. And in front was a huge picture of Martin Lawrence. He was one of the first people from our area to blow up. And it was open mic night. And and I got put into that community. I signed up and I didn't get called on. And so I took it personal and I went back the next open mic night and signed up in a lot of different places, didn't get called on. And then I went up to the host and I said, "Hey man, I've been coming the last 2 times and you just didn't call my name for open mic." He goes, "Oh, I just didn't know you. Come back next week." So that was my first lesson in showbiz is who you know, right? And his name was Chris Paul, phenomenal performer and comedian. And so then he called me on stage the third open mic, and I did okay. I did okay. I was talking so fast, like I saw the audience was looking at me up. They were like kind of laughing a little bit. But when I got off stage, and I think this is something only I can't speak to other regions, but in the Maryland, DC area, all the comics, when you get off stage, they give you applause. It's almost like the bullpen. Is it called the bullpen in baseball? It's almost like
Yeah.
it's like everybody is supportive. Like we're one team. So all these comics came up to me and said, "That was funny, man. You got some funny stuff. Slow down, do this." And I knew I was home. Like I knew I was home. I was like, wow. And so and then I stayed. And as the night progresses on open mic nights, the comedians get more and more seasoned. And usually some pros drop in at the end of the night. Well, near the end of the night, a guy I went to school with in 8th grade went on stage. I go, "Yeah, Brooks, I know him." And so I was like, "Yo," he was like, "Yo," he was like, "What's up, Joe?" And so he took me around the comedy circuit that summer. And that's when and my goal was to just get paid. I said, if I can get paid, that means I'm a professional. And I was doing a bunch of rooms that weren't really set up for comedy. It would be like long tables and people sitting like with their back to the stage, looking back, eating crab legs and drink. So
God.
if you could get a laugh, like it was like a win, What do you say? Like you'd be outside, you competing with noise. Like I started in like none of the areas weren't like set up for stand up. So if I got one laugh, it was like getting, I don't know, making 8,000 people laugh in a theater.
Well,
And so,
that's how the stand-up scene used to be in a lot of places. Like the Ding Ho was one
yeah,
of the most famous Boston area spots. It was what, in the back of a Korean joint or something, right?
that's it. That's it. Yeah, man. The way we bring comedy into spaces that weren't meant to have them is like, I don't, somebody should do a documentary on that. Because, and so then at the end of the summer, somebody fell out and they called me to host the other Greenbelt Comedy Connection in Laurel. It's this big spot. And I remember it was raining and says it was raining like crazy. And this is right at the tail end of the comedy boom. So they were like papering the room and giving away like free food and stuff. And so it was like maybe 25 people there, but this guy named Pops gave me a crumpled up 20 and a five. I got $25. So I was like, I'm a professional. And that night I hosted and I kept kicking I was doing all these rookie mistakes. I kept kicking the cord out and just clumsy, and it was bad, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it. That whole summer was like it was so fun. That's when I was 19. And and to bring it back to your other question, so my son and daughter, they always wanted to know where am I going at night? Because I still perform a
Yeah.
lot. I still go up and, but I go up after they go to bed. And so I said, I was at the Improv one night and I walked up in the Hollywood Improv, and I walk in the green room and I see two like 8-year-olds sitting down. I go, hey, what's up? I go, who's your grown up? And, and they told me who their dad was. I go, what? And so I talked to management. I said, I think it was Nick Thune's kids. I go, we could bring kids in. He goes, yeah, man. Just let us know. He was like, Eliza brings her kids here, Whitney, everybody, yeah, it's cool. Because I was afraid because they had a liquor license, but they're a restaurant, so they can have it, but it's just upstairs, right? So they're technically still on the restaurant side. They're not, and they can like look over. And so uh I was like, bet. So I told my son my next date at the Improv, I go, I'm gonna take you to the comedy club with me. He was like, awesome. That blew up he invited his two cousins. So I'm taking my 6-year-old daughter, my son who's 9, my other nephew who's 9, and my other nephew who's 6. So I got 4 kids with me, and I'm
This turned into a field trip, Owen.
field trip. I'm panicking on the inside because I'm like, what act do I do? Because a lot of my act is, I'm making fun of their moms. So it's like yeah, this is gonna be therapy. So I told one of my boys, he goes, I'm coming to this. He goes, I'm either gonna see the beginning of therapy or witness greatness. So my boy Sakaya comes, he brings his wife. So the green room is packed, and it was so much fun, man. They come. And the first people they see are Al Magical. And what's so cool is everybody talks to them like adults. So they were in the green room jumping up and down. Al comes in, he goes, yo, 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 y'all need to shut the fuck up. He just started talking to him like that. And then he apologized to me, like, yo, I'm sorry. Because I said, hey, no, man. He go, but listen, all this food is free. Tear it up. They were like, yeah. And they had fun. They were getting like all the popcorn. And they were jumping. They like, comedy club is cool. My daughter, who is hilarious, man. She goes out and looks over the stage, and Anthony Jeselnik is on the stage.
Oh
And
God.
my yes, yes, and my daughter's wearing these light up shoes, and he sees it and he goes, "Who the fuck wore light up shoes to a fucking comedy show?" And my daughter just stays there and she's not shook. She's just da 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 da. Da. Then she comes in there and she goes, "Daddy," he said, "Who the F word?" Where's it? So she wasn't like, I was so happy she didn't say the word, but I also was so happy she knew not to say the word. And she understood she was in like an adult place. I was like, you're in an adult place. So basically the agreement I made with myself was when I watched Eddie Murphy Delirious, he did not know a 9-year-old boy was watching. So
Yeah.
he did not hold, but he did his act. He did his show, and I loved every bit of it. And now I'm a part of that community, right? So I decided to just put them into that's one of the things I loved about comedy, like it, because I was raised a sheltered kid. But when I was sitting in the back of the comedy club, because then I went back to Notre Dame, and in the 10,000 hours of it all, South Bend that summer happened to open a comedy club.
Huh.
And so I, of course, worked there. I worked the door. Everything they do at the store here, I did in South Bend, Indiana. I worked the door and was the MC. And then I would sit in the back and watch all these national touring headliners who are huge today, from Dan Whitney, who was Larry the Cable Guy, to Lewis Black, Kathleen Madigan, Diana Limo, who passed away, rest in peace. She was instrumental in showing me how to get work as a comic later once I moved to Chicago. Cedric the Entertainer came through, D.L. Hughley came through, Jamie Foxx. I opened for all these people. But just like sitting in the back of the room, a guy who grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, and like never had like any different culture other than it was a black neighborhood, like over to my house. I was now like I was learning how Italian Americans were, Irish Americans were. Like it was like introducing me to the world, and they were like adults, and it was unfiltered, and it was, I don't know, it was just the best way to learn about the world. And then I would go to eat with these people and they would tell me, and it was, I don't know, it was just, and that's why I think more people should come to comedy clubs because it's exposing you to stuff you wouldn't normally have in your house, and you sign this agreement that, hey man, you're gonna come down, you're gonna have some drinks and some food, and what's said in here is for adults, but it's 99% of the time is with the greatest intention in mind, just to make you laugh and forget about what's going on out there. But we also getting to know each other in an organic way that is something that's just invaluable that you just don't get in regular life, John Panette, like all these people would come through and I was just blown away by how similar we were, how you know what I mean, how different, it was I don't know, I just fell in love with it like more and more. So I did my act, and the point I'm trying to make is when I got off stage, I'm trying not to cry. I walked upstairs. My kids gave me the biggest hug. They were so proud of me, and it was like the best hug. Like showbiz could never compete with that hug that I got from both of my kids. Like they were like my biggest supporters and fan. They were just so proud to see their daddy and to see where he goes at night and to see the crowd was laughing. But I did tell the crowd honestly. I said, "Look, man." I'm going to do my act, but I'm just letting you know my son and daughter are up there. I told them up front. So if I hesitate or pause, it's just because that's what's happening. And they were like, all right, yeah. So I let them, but all the jokes I did, they were laughing in the right spots. I saw my daughter's shoes going up. And they had a ball. My cousins had a ball, and they were all just blown away by the experience, and then they got to see what my cousins got I'm sorry, my nephews got to see what their uncle does. Because as a kid, I never really knew what my uncles did. You know what I mean? I just you kind of heard about it, or when I remember, shoot, some of them I didn't know to like the obituary. You're like, yo, he was that, And
Yeah.
so it was I don't know, it was just kind of a cool way to connect, and for them to see. They saw Anthony Jeselnik, they saw. I can't remember who else they saw, but it was like you guys saw some stars, and then just in the green room they met some people who they're like, "Oh yeah, I know them," and for them it's like nothing. I'm like, that was the voice. They did the voice from the movie. You're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I know." Like it's kind of fun to see them, like meet all these people too.
Well, I
Yeah,
love the them giving you that enthusiastic hug aspect to that story because you get to a point in life where there aren't many living beings that are greeting you enthusiastically every day. It's like dogs, if you have dogs, even cats are like, oh, you're back home, whatever. I'm still taking care of myself.
yeah,
The
yeah,
kids, all the way up to a point, maybe till puberty, or give you that enthusiasm every time you see them, even if it's like just getting home from work for the day or whatever. Like,
yeah,
even look, I love my wife. She loves me. We're in a very happy marriage. I mean, some days because we're just making it happen as it comes about. It's like drive by kissing whenever you get home. It's like, oh hey, I love you. Let's all right, let's go to dinner or whatever else is going on. But the
yeah.
kids running up to you and jumping into your arms and giving you that hug feels great regardless. But in a situation like that where it's you sharing this special thing with them, that's really cool. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, man. It was everything. And so they're like, when can we go to another one? Because I was like, I want to take them down to another spot that let me bring them in, and that one is even more fellowship of comedians. It's the Comedy and Magic Club, like the comics eat together
Oh,
in a different room, and then they can watch themselves on the monitor, then they go perform.
Because I
So
would
I went,
imagine that they're probably not welcome at the Comedy Store.
no, I tried it. They were like, nah, man, this is the, what you doing? And so, so one time I set at the store, and my wife and I, like my wife, she couldn't get back in time. She was doing something. She went to go support our other nephew who was playing high school football, and getting back, it didn't work out. So I had to take them to the store with me. And usually I bump into another comic that has kids. And I was like, all right, so this is what I do. I'm gonna go. And we sat in the parking lot. I go, come get me when it's time for me to go up. And then I saw another comic who has kids, and they just kind of sat with them. And when I got back in, they were like, my son was, yeah, he was nice. I'm like, oh, hey, great, great, great. Yeah, yeah. So then we drove back home. So we were able to do it like that. But yeah, yeah, it was really the store won't. I tried to get my nephew in. He's 19. He's really no, he's 17. I just wanted him to see the showroom. And I said, yo, you gotta look older. You gotta, get your but he has but I always look my age. It was as soon as we got out the car, security's like, hey, man. I said, well, we tried. I said I didn't think we would get far, but I just want him to see it. And it's like, nah, man, you can't risk that liquor license, baby. What are you doing? Stay in the car. So yeah. Now, yeah. She has to see it later. But yeah, there's some rooms that don't serve alcohol. They serve like beer and wine
Hmm.
where I could take them to. But yeah, the improv, because I think it's because it's a restaurant. They were able to how they have this set up. They were able to be on the restaurant side, but like look over, which was kind of cool. So
So the
yeah.
last time you and I spoke, we bonded over mutual enjoyment of youth sports coaching, but you also admitted to me in that conversation that you had done some reffing too.
Oh
Did you
yeah, had to,
stop?
yeah.
Are you still coaching and reffing in youth sports, Owen? And if so, how's it going?
Oh my God. So what am I doing now? So now my son is starting to play baseball. He
I'm,
hit two
I'm
home
sorry.
runs.
I'm sorry to
I,
hear that.
I know, bro. He had two home runs in this tournament. And
Holy cow.
I was crying, man. He was like, tack. And I was like, oh, like I couldn't believe it. And he was so happy. He's really good at it. His first love is football.
Hmm.
I don't coach in that, and I don't coach in baseball. He and I, we throw the ball around to each other, and we do like little drills and stuff. But it's not as in his cousins are really good. Like they play on one of those traveling baseball teams,
Hmm.
and so we're still trying. I literally just got the phone with my wife. We're trying to figure out if we want to immerse him in that, or we're trying to figure out where he is because he loves basketball and football first, but he's athletic, so he is successful in baseball and he's fast, and he's just building up his baseball IQ. But I coached his basketball. That's what I know. So I was his
Yeah.
assistant coach in basketball, and
Yeah, because you
my
played up to a point. I feel like you played against Monty Williams and got lit
I
up by
did,
Grant Hill. There's like you
yeah,
got some really
yeah.
cool basketball stories.
Yeah,
So
great
yeah,
memory. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Grant Hill scored 60 on
yeah.
me. And
Not to bring up that memory. My
yeah, broke
apology.
up a relationship. Yeah, man. I had this real hood girlfriend that was like, get him, get him. I was like, go home. I ain't going nowhere. You don't need to see this. Forget him. Okay, so he got that one, but you won't. I was like, go home.
But
And
you
Grant
co you
was
coach your son's basketball team though, and is
yeah,
that going
yeah,
pretty well?
man. Yeah, yeah. And I try but for me, it's more about like what all these sports, what they all have to me is just watching him get his confidence up
Yeah.
and also teaching him how to be a great teammate and to learn. And what he has that I didn't have is he has access to learn the fundamentals, or I won't say the right way, but I'll say the best way to do certain things. We were just outside, man. So I have a community college jump shot and he is like learning like the proper technique. I could pitch when I played baseball. I could throw really fast, but I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew, it's more like comedy. You in front of me, I know how to make you laugh. Like I just knew how to strike out. I could look at the guy and I was just making stuff up. But I couldn't hit for anything, man. So when it was my turn to hit, you could hear an audible gasp from my whole team. They be like, "Who's up next?" We're down one. We can do. Who's up next? Owen. And you can hear my team. Oh, like as I'm walking by, people start packing up. Come on, man. Because I didn't know you're supposed to swing the handle, not the. I was trying to swing the barrel. I was trying to, you
Oh,
know. So he learned. My son already learned like how to do his hand. And I'm like, bro, like I'm like. I just want him to know. Basically, I'm trying to teach him that there are fundamentals to everything, like whether it's in academia or it's in sports. And I just want him to get in the habit of learning what the rules are, so then you can break them if you want to, but just get the fundamentals. And I'm excited to watch him have success learning the fundamentals, whether or not he wins or whatever. I just want him to like enjoy it, and it's fun watching him coming to his own. He hit 2 home runs, had everybody sign it, and he did that fundamental swing, man. It was gone. I was like, that's so crazy. And it doesn't have to be as I don't know. We were just flying without a net, man. Like so. In basketball, I'm teaching them stuff like how to look at your defender's feet, so you know what move to use on them, and you just have to create a little bit of space, and he can. My son can jump, so and I teach him how to box out. We play a lot, and I'm so much taller than him. He boxes me out. So when he boxes out kids his age, it's hilarious.
well, boxing out is like completely lost on
It's a
basketball
lost
now. It's the
art.
craziest thing. Like over the backs don't exist anymore. If anything, the guy trying to box out sometimes gets called for the foul. I don't understand it. Like I don't
Yeah,
understand how basketball has changed like that. I understand the 3-point thing, and that's
yeah.
theoretically a more efficient way to score a lot of points, even though if I disagree with completely abandoning the mid-range game. The fact that box outs don't happen is just beyond me because rebounds are definitely still a thing.
It's the thing, and it opens up. It does so much. It does so much. If you can get rebounds, it hurts the will of the other team. They start, especially at this age, they're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like little things in it, and so it's fun watching him like see the game slow down a little bit for his age group, and get him. I was getting him to pass and set up his teammates and encourage his teammates if they miss, because you know how these kids get competitive, man. I'm like, no, you gotta, encourage them. And it makes them want to focus more because a lot of times it's just these kids just gotta focus. And yeah, yeah. So we're having fun, and he's doing a little bit of tennis. Those are the four that he's doing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
last question now, Owen. We spoke, I think, almost 2 years ago before the first time you headlined at the mothership. I believe
Yeah.
you've been there 2 weekends now. What do you think about this club that Joe built that a lot of people believe is amongst the top clubs on this planet?
I agree. I don't know how he did it. I'm happy he did it. I mean, when I was there were a lot of people who came to see me who were from out of town, like. It was like they were flying in, which was very cool. It had like a Vegas feel. Like people were like, "We're from here. We're from here." They flew into Austin. They came to check out the show, and I was like, "That's brilliant." Like, why wouldn't you have a space in Texas where you can do that and enjoy Austin and then go back, to wherever you're from? And I love it, man. It's one of the few times I get to go on stage and just do a nice long set and stretch out, and we have a lot of fun. This will be my third time being there, and this is on the heels of right after that. I don't know last time we talked, but I created a TV show
Yeah.
for the Neighborhood spinoff. It's a spinoff of the show The Neighborhood, in conjunction with Cedric the Entertainer, and the show is called Crutch, and it stars Tracy Morgan, and so that premieres.
Premieres early next month, right?
Yep. November 3rd on Paramount Plus. And so that's what I was working on. I think that's why we couldn't connect last year, because I was in the writer's room, doing that show. But yeah, man, 8 episodes. It's multicam. Got Tracy Morgan and Jermaine Fowler, and we got a Tony Award winner, Keisha Lewis, and Lunel is in there crushing it. It's a fun time. So we'll
I
see.
think you said you put the soul, the show is at the root of your soul. What do you mean by that, Owen?
What did I say?
Hold on. Let me find the exact quote here that I saw
Okay.
on social media. Hold on. I don't want to butcher it. Uh, this one is close to my heart. To see an idea grow into a full series with Tracy Morgan leading the way. It's a dream come true, prayer hands. So, how
Yeah.
is this one close to your heart?
Well, it was inspired by one of my very good friends, Floyd Ewing,
Oh, wow.
and his dad. And Floyd is still with us. He's still in his dad is still with us. But their relationship was always so funny to me. Um, and I went to Notre Dame with Floyd, but Floyd was in law school when I was in undergrad, and we became fast friends and did everything together. When I was doing, we came out to LA together for spring break and went to see. And this is how stuff is full circle, man. We went to go see on Paramount's lot. Paramount's lot. That was the first Hollywood lot I was ever on. Paramount's lot. We went to go watch an episode of the Arsenio Hall show. But
Mm.
they made us watch Lisa Gibbons first. Lisa Gibbons had a show. So I don't know if you can find it, but you'll find my friend Floyd asleep in the audience, like on Lisa's show. And I'm like, yo, like I remember them to an audience shot. I'm like, yo, but we had to do that to go to Arsenio's show taping. And on that taping it was Tupac's last appearance on Arsenio. Tupac
Whoa.
was episode, yeah. And he passes in the hallway. It was weird. And then we saw Tupac later at like the after party. But years later I will go on to write for Arsenio's show, The Second Coming. And then I created a TV show for Arsenio with for ABC. It didn't go, but I created that. But Paramount was also the first lot I worked on Everybody Hates Chris. We shot that on Paramount's lot. And now I have a show coming out on Paramount Plus with Tracy Morgan. And it's inspired by like a personal connection between two friends of mine. I was happy that I was able to make it work for him, and I hope to give Tracy a win in the multicam space. That would be a great thing.
Tracy is one of a kind. I still laugh at his Brian Fellows character from SNL.
Man, Brian Fellows. That dude is incredible,
So
man.
silly.
Everything he says, I've never known anyone. Like on camera, he knows every cell of his body. He knows how to make his fingertips funny. Like he is a true technician. Like he's incredible.
Well,
Incredible.
he
Yeah.
has somebody else who is seems to make making people laugh very easy is Owen Smith, who you can check out at the Comedy Mothership
Yeah.
this weekend. There actually are still some tickets left to these shows as of right now. That will not be the case by Thursday, Friday, certainly Saturday. Go to
Yeah.
comedymothership.com right now to snag those. Also follow Owen on the socials at Owen Smith 4 Real. That 4 is the number 4. And occasionally hear him on this show. He's nice enough to join me when he's passing through town. Owen, it is always a joy and a pleasure getting to chat with you,
Thanks.
get to catch up with you, man. Thank you so much for the time. Safe travels to and from Austin this
Thanks, my
week.
friend. Appreciate you, man. All right. Take care, buddy.